One of the most intriguing and interesting experiences I've had in quite a long life filled with surprises was flying all the way from Cape Town or Johannesburg to Ottawa in Canada. It would have been round about 92, 93, and the Viljoen brothers were on the plane with us, identical twins. And Bram Viljoen had been our friend, our supporter, open-minded, progressive, looking for solutions, and Constant Viljoen had been the enemy number one, the general in charge of the regime military forces. And we're in search of discovering more about federalism. First stop, Canada. And I'm looking at these two and I can't make out the one from the other. We land, it's like probably 2 in the morning South African time, but it's like 7 o'clock there. We go for a run, and Rolf Meyer is quite fit, he's running out. Albie Sachs puts on his tackies, and Consul Viljoen is running, and he's so kind. He slows down, pretending to tie up his shoelaces so that I can catch up with him. That stands out, but we had very serious discussions. And the Canadians were interesting. Every country whose people we met said, our country has the best constitution. Even the English, who don't have a constitution, said theirs was the best. Only the Canadians said, don't follow us. So the only ones who said our experience of federalism, what's in the constitution is a disaster, because each of the provinces is more or less independent, and there's no working together, and we have to have the prime ministers meeting once a year completely outside of the constitutional framework to deal with national issues. Don't follow our federalism. Look to Switzerland and to Germany. And we then flew to Switzerland, had very interesting discussions, and they introduced us to the notion of cooperative federalism, not competitive federalism. I didn't go with them onto Germany, but the group went, but I'd been before to Germany. At that stage, I'd been there as part of the ANC Constitutional Committee, working with the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung. They had a professor, Hans-Peter Schneider, who was like seconded to us to help us in early negotiations. We met in Hanover, and he said, well, what you must do in South Africa is, I said, Professor Hans-Peter, please don't tell us what we must do. Tell us how you do things in Germany, and if they're useful for us, we will. And he understood completely. And there were 2 key things they did in Germany that we felt right away would be relevant to South Africa. The one was there'd been a huge debate, a furious debate in South Africa about the F word, federalism. Who should have the main legislative power, the national authority or the provincial regional authorities? And if there was a clash, which one would be superior? And he introduced us to concurrent powers. Wow, that was like an illumination. And the national government would prevail if the issues were national issues, and the regional governments would prevail if the issues were essentially regional. The second thing we learned from Germany was the nature of their second chamber. Instead of having a Senate chosen in some way different from the National Assembly, Germany, the Länder the executive sent representatives to the Bundesrat. And that became the basis of the idea to have a national council of provinces with the notion of cooperative interaction between the different spheres of government. We used to speak about tiers of government, but we made them spheres of government to give a little more authority to the local level, the national level, the provincial level. I remember writing at the time, it's not a question of which sector must be strongest, but that we needed strong national government for national tasks, strong regional government for regional tasks, strong local government for local tasks. To a large extent, that was incorporated into the Constitution. I had a very interesting discussion with my son, Michael Sachs, the other day, and he said, "Dad, there are two things that are actually today keeping South Africa back. And one is concurrent powers and the other is cooperative governance." I was rather surprised because I felt these institutional arrangements would prevent unnecessary clashes. There would be an exchange of mind, meeting of mind. He said the end result is that nobody is really responsible. That there are no clearly defined functions, that there's no system of accountability, and it takes too long for things to be done. Too many decision makers are involved at different stages, and you can't really hold anybody to account. I have enormous respect for Michael. He's very, very smart. And he was on the Finance and Fiscal Commission that was responsible for transfers, and he could see at first hand. He also worked in Treasury and was responsible for the budget, that something needed to be done to shake up government, to make it more efficient, more effective, more decisive. Anyway, that's his response. He's more in touch than I am, and I would leave it at that.